this conversation. So on the training side, in terms of ways that companies can improve productivity as measured by the total output of an employee in an hour, how can training positively impact productivity? And we mentioned Canada is having this issue, but this definitely applies to most of the countries around the world.
I think everywhere in the world wants
It's
to be more productive. I don't think there's anybody who wants to be less productive. I think there have been stories in certain countries that will ban technologies to try to increase the number of jobs available, deliberately make people less productive, so that there's more jobs available. But I think historically, that usually is a losing battle, trying to deliberately, kneecap your employees to try to maintain something that's not sustainable, and you're gonna get beaten out by the people who are just producing more using tools. And I think there's a lot of ways that um, we would look to boost productivity, and I think looking at it, I think there's some obvious ones, and I think there's some. I think training plays a role in all of it, right? I think the number one thing is going to be tools. I think looking at what can you do as an organization, and not looking at the bigger picture, the economy and investment and bureaucracy and things like that. I think what can you do if you were a business, if you had an organization, and you wanted to improve productivity in your what you have control over. I think tools is the biggest thing. I think um, tools obviously is, if you're going to go out and build a house with a screwdriver and a handsaw right now, you're not going to get very far. You're not going to produce a lot of houses. And so the first thing you would say is, well, what are the tools? What are the machinery that allows us to build things faster, to build whatever I have to build faster? Take that, you can take any example and you can see how tools completely change the job. It changes the skills that are required. It changes how quickly you can produce things. And that would be the first thing is well, you're gonna have to train people on these tools. When you have power tools, when you have heavy machinery, whether it's tracking certificates, whether it's enabling that, it's sort of how do you embrace that? And there's always a new tool on the market, whatever you're working on. There's always new tools. There's always innovation, and that's where this productivity comes from. It doesn't come. I think that's one thing. It's that idea of, hey, be more productive means there's a guy kind of holding a whip and just forcing everybody to work harder. I would much rather, have a power drill and be working with power tools than with a handsaw and a screwdriver. I think I want somebody or a system in place that allows me to learn that and prove that I learned that so I can use it safely on a job site. And I think looking at new tools, applying new tools, I think training is a part of that. I think if you are, if you're looking for sort of the tools, I would say is on the more expensive side of things. I think that this is one way that you can boost productivity, but it might mean, drastically changing the skills that are required in your organization, changing the material that you need to be able to do your job, right? And I feel like training plays a big role in that.